This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. And welcome to my review of Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 5, Head On. And please, if you have not watched this episode yet, please go watch it. This episode was amazing. One of the best things I've seen on television. So well written, so well acted. I'm just telling you, please, if you have not watched this episode yet, please watch it before you see this because the emotional impact of this was just so intense, so well written. All the acting was completely amazing. Please go check it out. This is your final chance because I'm going to spoilers now. And yeah, oh my god, I love this episode. As I said, such amazing acting, and the performances were just so great. I was just in shock for most of the episode, and I was so drawn and just couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. And I was so disappointed every time there's a commercial break because it just feels like it was interrupting greatness. I also had an annoying problem where a few parts of the episode glitched out, and I wasn't able to hear the audio well. And thankfully, it was scenes where I could really easily fill in the gaps. It was the one right before the intro, and the one where George Dean Jr. got really mad at Lana, and then one right after the first scene where Clark was talking to the woman who had cancer and talk about their experiences. And we're going to cut to Lois. So I was just so glad it only had problems there because this episode was just so amazing. It was one of the best balances of kind of uplifting moments and humor with the really dark and depressing parts of someone having cancer. It was perfectly paced, and the storytelling was just amazing. They knew exactly when to just be serious and just to convey how hard this is to deal with. And even just seeing the actor Tyler Hoechlin just playing such an amazing job, just kind of looking on in shock and not only grief but also a little horror as he's just hearing these stories and sees how there's everyone has this point where they're going to feel the urge to just give up and give in to the cancer, and for him to just hear those really devastating stories, especially about the woman who lost her daughter, was just it was just so amazingly written. I feel like this would hit so much harder for someone who's gone through this, but me who no one that I am extremely close with has gone through it, although I do know some people who have, but it was just so amazing, and it was just so amazing. I just really can't say just how great this episode was. The writing just, I mean, I keep saying the writing was amazing, but also the acting, all the reactions just felt so human, and everything was just, as I said, so well placed as you get these just really emotional scenes mixed in with some other scenes just to show just how powerful everything is. Another thing I really enjoyed was everything with Jonathan and his relationship and having to figure out really what his priorities are, and even Candace just being so understanding and not wanting him to be sacrificing something that he really wants to just be with her, and although she still wants to be with him, she's going to try to figure out a way to make it work. And I really think they're going to doing such a great job with that. It really was just truly incredible, and it was a really mature relationship, and that's just really with everything in this. Even the conversation between Lois and Clark is she just wants to go to the dance, and after hearing everything, Clark is just telling her he doesn't think it's a good idea, and after he returns from fighting the villain, who I'll talk about in just a moment, they have this really amazing scene where Lois says that she realizes that she's not the only one in this, and her decisions do have impacts on others, and wants Clark to be speaking up when they disagree. So she has a reality check, and just that scene, it was just so incredible once again. This entire episode is just filled with incredible moments, and I've only talked about probably half of it, and this is basically at the length of my other reviews, since I don't really change the footage for at least half longer plays until after I'm done, and basically this point right now is where the last video ended, and just truly incredible with that. Yeah, acting was so amazing, and I just really loved how they had this amazing relationship and are able to build off of each other and even be able to find ways around Lois's sickness, and had that really nice and heartwarming scene at the end where they were all dancing for Lois to be able to see it, since she just really wanted to go but just wasn't feeling good enough to be able to do it. Now, looking at the next really amazing thing, we have everything going on with Bruno Mannheim and his plot. He has some great scenes with Lois where he genuinely wants to help people, but also has his secondary plans and wants power for himself. And it's likely so he could manage to go and help his community, but also it seems that he wants revenge on the people who were mistreating them, and he's using Superman's blood to do this. But the other interesting thing is that this entire attack on the DoD was a distraction, so he could steal Bizarro's body and try and bring him back. And I think that this is going to lead to a more typical Bizarro, and he will bring him back, but his mind is going to be severely damaged. He'll be using although he'll be using regular speech, he'll be talking in opposites, and what he says will mean the opposite of it. And I do think that we could also see that the Superman will be eventually redeemed, but I think that his mind's gonna be really messed up for a while, and we'll get a little more classic Bizarro for just a little bit. And that was really interesting to see. Also, that fight with Superman and the guy with the phasing abilities. They did give him a name, but I don't really remember it. That was just another amazing fight. Really well done, and they really were able to get in how hard it would be to fight someone with these abilities. And finally, moving into some of the smaller stories, there is everything with George Dean Jr., and honestly, it was a really nice little story. You get to see both Lana and Sarah interacting with him, and him grieving for the loss of his father. It was a really nice moment, and you could see that Lana and Sarah are still working on rebuilding their relationship after everything that happened a few episodes ago, where Lana slapped Sarah, but everything in this one was done really well with them, and the scenes with George Dean Jr., who, although I think he kind of didn't feel like a teenager in that scene, it felt like he was a lot older, and but I think they also really nailed his look, and he looks a lot like his father did. So I feel like in terms of the actor they chose, he really did look like he was the son of the character, and who knows, this might be the actor's actual son who was playing the character, but I don't know, he just seemed a little too old. He seemed like someone that would probably was in his mid 20s, and that was one of the few things that was off about this episode, but it was a really minor complaint. I also really liked that little scene at the end where we got to see Lana decide that she isn't going to expose the truth and sees that this is going to be a lot more hurtful to George Dean Jr. and doesn't want to ruin the reputation of his father. And she's actually naming the town hall after him. And honestly, that was a really nice and human moment. And I just feel like I'm just saying it's so much in this, but it really is, just feels so human and grounded. Really is amazing. And I just can't believe how well this has been. And it feels like this has just jumped up in so much quality, even from season one. And this is easily, as long as this quality continues, be the best season of this. And it's probably going to be the best show that ever aired on CW because, oh my god, this is just so amazing. And there's still more to talk about for this episode. And I'm at basically double the normal length of my typical reviews for this. You can just really tell how much I love this. And moving into the final things, there is these nice little parts with Sam Lane where we could see he's considering going back into dating. A nice thing between Kyle and Chrissy where they're clearly going into a relationship. And finally, the stuff with Natalie and one guy she met a few episodes ago, it's going well. It definitely was one of the weaker parts of the episode, but that's because just everything else was so amazing. It just didn't really feel as necessary in comparison. But those really nice and fun scenes in the dance hall were really nice, and everything was done really well. But honestly, I just love this episode so much, and I really want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments because honestly, I just want to go and finish this up. I love this episode so much, but I think I'm even pushing it a little bit. This is nearly at 15 minutes, and yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments. Did you love this episode as much as I did? Because it's really rare when I especially talk about a single episode of a TV show for nearly 15 minutes. So please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.